last week, I asked that you guys go into the comments and give us some ideas on our Marvel segment and what we should title it. Because as of right now, it is our untitled Marvel rumor segment. Yeah, I got to pull that. Okay. So, all right, let's look at some of these options. Usually these rumors are whack and annoying as heck, so call it nothing to marvel at. Marvel or Raveled. Name the segment where you talk about Marvel rumors. Easy, name it Scuttlebutt. It fits the Marvel theme. It's another word for rumors and kind of fits the bus theme.
Scuttlebus.
Chillmonger. Marvel moment. MTU. Feige facts or fiction. Behind the Cape. Phase 5 dive.
I like Behind the Cape.
That is pretty good. See here. The Unmarvelous segment. And I think that's it.
So obviously we can't take the negative ones. We're negative enough. We don't have to be negative Nancy in the title as well. I would say Scuttlebus or Behind the Cape.
Okay. So then if those are the two that we're looking at, we will drop a poll. A community poll. So for now, still untitled, but drop the poll and make sure you vote for which one that you like the most. Let's get into these rumors.
Quick rule. You have to be sub to vote. Got to be sub to vote.
Yeah.
So you should see the poll and you're not yet subbed, head over to the YouTube channel, subscribe real fast, and then vote. We can tell.
Yep. All right. It's not the first thing on my list, but the first thing that I wanted to talk about, which seems to be the biggest thing I think right now, is the fact that Ant-Man plot leaks are out.
Oof.
And so I went through a video and pretty much watched everything that was in that plot leak. I'm not going to give it away, but some of the things that we had kind of predicted are correct. How we get there is a little convoluted, I guess, kind of. But all in all, kind of still seems to be a decent movie. Kind of what I expected of said Ant-Man movie.
Something to keep in mind before we start diving into it. They did say that they were going to start putting out faulty stuff to throw off the leakers.
Yep.
The interesting thing to me is going to be when they put out the faulty stuff and people get excited for it and they like it, and then that's not what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my, it's going to be peak MCU.
Yeah.
It's going to be peak MCU.
Yep.
Like, yeah, let's advertise all the shit that we know people want. You know, epic charge led by Captain America and Hulk that never happened, or you know, certain scenes that you see pop up.
That is a very noteworthy point, and I'll give you that. But obviously, we have seen leaks for Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and now this. So I guess.
Oh no! So far, they've been pretty on point.
Yeah, we wouldn't be remiss to at least listen to what they have to say, and some of the stuff kind of matches up with what's in some of the trailers. So,
what are we talking about?
Could be true, could be fake. Some of the things that happen with Kang, the part that I really don't look forward to is kind of what happens with MODOK.
What did it say? Just say it.
MODOK is on Kang's side at first, and then right before he dies, he essentially kind of helps Ant-Man and them, and then he thinks
he dies?
He dies.
Oh my God, this dead villain graveyard of the MCU.
He dies, and then before he dies, he's like happy that he could have been a part of the Avengers. But he only helps Ant-Man. It's not like Ant-Man's a decision maker. So like, sorry, MODOK, you died, but like, you're not an Avenger.
That sounds like an MCU moment.
Yeah.
Sounds like having a faction of the Skrulls be good guys and just be wanting to live their life in peace and not shapeshift and take over governments and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess the biggest thing is just that everybody essentially leaves. Janet comes back for Scott because he's in this fight with Kang. She ends up getting stuck and Kang gets out. So everybody from the Ant-Man movie gets out of the quantum realm.
Except for Scott and Wasp.
Yes.
Jesus.
And Kang gets out because Janet left it open for him to get out, I guess.
I wonder if Ant-Man's going to be the introduction to the Fantastic Four. Because if they get left in the quantum realm, and a lot of people theorize that the Fantastic Four come from the quantum realm or get out of the quantum realm, I wonder if they're going to use Scott Lang to just be the MCU usher.
Could be.
Essentially. I don't know.
Could be.
I'll tell you, I like the aspect that Kang gets out of here. You know, that they didn't stave off the invasion or stave off his plans in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, like we said before in the last, you know, Marvel's or last update video or last Marvel video we did, we talked about how to kind of break the monotony of what we got out of Phase 4, it would do a lot to shake up the MCU if they just put us right in the middle of a dire situation and kind of stayed there for a while.
Yeah.
To really build that anticipation, build that anxiety around the situation. And it's not just somebody's coming. They're here and they lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would enjoy a phase full of dominance of Kang to show just what type of villain, what type of force he is for the MCU.
Agreed. That, unless you had any other thing about the rumors, is a good segue.
No, go.
So the villain of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Namor, supposedly Kevin Feige has teased that, there's so many great stories that we can tell about Namor. Maybe there's something in store.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what we're supposed to glean from all of these after the fact takes about Wakanda Forever. Like, it's clear they're still promoting for the China release, which, you know, we'll talk about that in a second too.
Sure.
But it's clear that they're still trying to promote this movie. Oh, the female centric vibe of the movie was organic. No, that is where
great organic storytelling.
I run into these things where I get frustrated with people that talk for Marvel because they talk in a way that you would have to put your common sense on the back burner to believe. So every other title in this phase has centered the woman, right? For the most part, right? We talking about She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, even Doctor Strange with Wanda, Loki. The only ones that really didn't were Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Every other movie was very female-centric. I'm supposed to believe that the movie that closed out the phase, it was just organic that it ended up being. No, that was clearly the marketing plan. And why they have such a hard time just saying that? Because everyone already sees it. We know about ESG. We know about BlackRock. We know about it. We know it. We know that you have a literal running quota for diversity and inclusion. We know that. I also have eyeballs, and I can see that 29 out of the 30 projects that you put out in this last year and a half are all female-led. But Wakanda Forever? No, that was totally organic. Totally organic. It just kind of came out of nowhere. It's insulting. It's insulting.
Look at the poster alone and see that that's not the case.
No one's waving a flag up here saying that was a bad thing, that it was so, well, some of it was bad.
Minority.
But the fact that it was just female was not the problem. It was female and it wasn't good. And it wasn't good. It was poignant. People could tell what you were trying to do, what crowd you were trying to increase, and even still, the content wasn't that good. Why they have such a hard time saying, we really worked hard in this phase to expand our female audience. Some of it worked, some of it doesn't, but we're proud of what we did. Okay. Cool. Because at least that acknowledges what I see. I may not agree with you, but at least it acknowledges what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you're trying to gaslight me into thinking that, nah, man, this is just normal comic book storytelling, bro. If you're mad that there are females here, fuck you. When that's not even the point. The females being there is not the point that everybody's ranting and raving about. It's the fact that it sucks. So not only are you not adequately speaking to the concerns of the fans, but you're not telling the truth. I would rather not hear from these people if they couldn't find a way to just be honest and candid. Mm-hmm. I'd rather not hear from you at all.
Yeah.
as far as the hundreds of Namor stories to tell, how are you going to do that without Talokan? How are you going to do Talokan without drawing the similarities to Atlantis, which is, according to you, the reason why you went with an indigenous Latin character for Namor as opposed to his canonical history.
Mm-hmm.
So if having Atlantis in Wakanda Forever was a problem for comparisons to Aquaman, which doesn't even seem like it's going to be a thing going forward after Aquaman 2, if that was the case, then what stories are you talking about? What stories are you talking about? What Namor stories without Atlantis are you going to tell?
His love story with Shuri.
Don't get me started on that. It feels like they're trying to keep Wakanda Forever in the conversation.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, like, I know the direct gives us a lot of scoops and they keep us in the know. But man, if I read another shill piece from the direct propping up Disney and their direction, it's like there's so much going on at Disney right now that the direct could be reporting on that they're not. And it's very telling that while Disney has a potential proxy fight on their hands, like literally Bob Iger might be losing control of the company. And they're talking about Wakanda Forever maybe being nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. They're talking about, oh yeah, Namor, we got this, we got that. And it's like, okay, I understand why the studio would do that. But you as a publication who's had to have heard about what's going on with Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter, what ultimately ended up with Bob Chapek, and now the looming proxy war that's going to be happening with the Disney board, you cannot possibly tell me that, Disney wants to make Namor stories is a better story than that. Is a bigger story.
Clear bias.
Like it's
in reporting.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, yo. And it's also very telling that them, Hollywood Reporter, sometimes Deadline every now and again. But outside of those three publications, Marvel's not really given firsthand account or interviews like that. They have their set that they go to and that they give information to, and everybody else's news is secondary.
They are also using a post-run, China run, to bolster their numbers, seemingly.
So that's another interesting thing, too. It's like, all right, so we haven't seen a China-released movie
all year.
In Phase 4. Then all of a sudden, Bob Iger comes back in October or November. And then all of a sudden, now we're going to be releasing movies in China. Number one, what kind of relationship does Bob Iger, not Disney, but Bob Iger have with Disney or with China that's all it took was to have the correct CEO, because the content hasn't changed. It hasn't had time to change. It's the same shit. On top of that, what is Iger conceded to cutting from while he's still projecting this, this very socially conscious person leading this socially conscious company? What are you giving up to get your films on screen in China? We know what they wanted you to cut for Black Panther Forever. So now are we even going to get the slightest bit of the kiss that we got in Wakanda Forever in the movie when it premieres in China? We already know how they feel about black men in the movies. Made Chadwick Boseman cover up his face in the promotional flyers for Black Panther back in 2018.
Yep.
Are we going to see even less of M'Baku to get the movie to release in China? What corners are you willing to cut to make sure that China plays your movie?
That is crazy. They could cut M'Baku out and the movie would still...
And it would be exactly what it was.
I guess, to the level it is now.
Another thing with how much money they're going to make. Right? I've seen a lot of people go, it's going to make $1 billion now. Going to make $1 billion. Okay. So, first of all, we've talked a few times about what the potential cost of Wakanda Forever could have been. right? So that's something to consider here now too. Is that if that number is closer to 500 million in total with marketing and production cost, this movie hadn't hit $1 billion to break even. If it's at that 400 to 450 mark, which is what initially was reported, okay, getting the $1 billion will maybe net them. Let's say they make another 200 million in China.
Mm-hmm.
They net another 200 million in China from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm.
That means that they gross that. They're going to net about $50 million of that. It's only about 25% that you pull from Chinese box offices anyways. So that 50 million, even though the gross number stands around $1 billion, if that's where it ends up. Because another thing you got to take into account is the fact that this movie has been out for 3 months. Mm-hmm. And has all but died out. Don't know if y'all know, but they pirate movies in China too. It's been out for 3 months. So what level, and people have time to critique it. They had time to give opinions on it. There's scores. Yeah, they've had time to ingest the overall feedback of the movie. So if you think that it was very so-so or Manila here in terms of the energy around the movie, think about what it's going to be 3 months after in a foreign country. I just don't see the level of anticipation being, oh my God, we're going to take them well over $1 billion with this. I don't see that.
You would have to really love the Black Panther series in order for there to be excitement around that, like you said, 3 months after the fact.
They have to spend money to put this back out too, right? If you're re-releasing, that means you're marketing. Mm-hmm. That means you're buying up ad space for trailers again. You're doing pressers. You have to spend money to re-release this movie. Mm-hmm. So it's not all net positive. They have to spend money to market it in China, where before they didn't have to do that because it wasn't going to be shown there. So you only get 25% of the box office. It's been out for three months already, and it doesn't have the same type of cultural significance around it. The legs on their movie weren't all that great. There were significant drops off of the opening total, even in the second weekend, which is usually stronger for genre films like that. It just doesn't sound like that's a recipe for success. Oh, and by the way, right after the 25%, you still have to spend money to market the film. I don't know.
One thing is for sure, it's probably not going to be a worse re-release than Morbius.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
We've also got a possible Misty Knight casting in Xosha Roquemore. Mm-hmm. She's being cast in Captain America: New World Order. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on that?
Well, congratulations to her. That's a good sign. If she's going to be playing Misty Knight, definitely appreciative of the, the emergence of a black couple that we actually see to grow and then perpetuate itself in the MCU. The only holdovers from the Netflix series, and it hasn't been Mike Coulter, and he just got recently frustrated and said he's given up on being called back. They did Daredevil. John Burns' Punisher is going to show back up. There's even been talk about the damn Iron Fist. No Misty Knight, no Luke Cage,
Yep.
Man, it sucks to suck. What was Rosario Dawson's character in there? I can't remember what her name was, but Luke Cage's girlfriend.
Nothing.
Yep. No holdovers. No holdovers.
No black holdovers. Yikes. The other rumors that I have are all the times where we're expecting recording for certain projects. Agatha: Coven of Chaos is supposedly filming currently, if they've already started filming. Blade reportedly starts filming May 30th. Thunderbolt starts filming in June. And Captain America: New World Order starts filming March 27th. So at least they're kind of getting the ball rolling on some of these projects.
May for Blade has to go off without a hitch. It has to start on time. Has to start on time. Is Armor Wars done?
I think Armor
Because
Wars
I didn't
is
hear
also-
that. I didn't hear anything about the Armor Wars movie that's supposed to be now starting shooting.
Currently, Armor Wars is set to begin filming on April 3rd.
Okay, there we go.
And is set to officially wrap up on August 4th.
Yeah. Armor Wars, Blade. 2 movies that cannot endure any more delays.
Yeah.
You announced Armor Wars and Blade, if I'm not mistaken, back at SDCC 19?
Yeah, it was
2019?
years ago. It would have had
You've
to
changed.
been.
So
it
at
wasn't
least
this most recent one or the one before, but then there wasn't one for the pandemic.
there was none in 2020. I think it was 2019. So we've had two projects that were announced in 2019. One of them has been reworked into a movie instead of a Disney Plus series. One of them had a script completely scrapped and a director fired. Delay. And now we've got some shooting dates. Do not delay again. Do not delay again. You know? Don Cheadle is going to be approaching 60 by the time Armor Wars is coming out. Mahershala Ali is going to be pretty close to his 50s.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to keep stringing along these actors.
Yep.
Agatha, Mephisto, Wanda, Wiccan. I'm interested. Definitely interested. I am still not in love with Sacha Baron Cohen being Mephisto. I'm just not. I'm not in love with that, man. It's.
I feel like I know he's been a serious character somewhere.
Where though? Where?
I can't remember. I feel like I've seen him do serious at some point. It's hard to not hedge expectations when you've got Borat, Bruno, the character he played in Talladega Nights.
Man,
Those are the ones that immediately come to mind.
Mephisto is a character that I've been waiting on in the MCU since they started talking all of this chaos magic and Wanda's story started to expand and all that other stuff, right? They start teasing Ghost Rider and things of that nature. And so automatically when you have a background in the comics, you start thinking about Mephisto. He is a dastardly character. He's a demon. He makes deals for your soul. I do not want to see him taken back so far that like every time I see Mephisto on screen it's to laugh.
Okay.
Don't gore the God Butcher Mephisto. Like I just, it does feel like a miscast. It feels like an absolute miscast. There's not going to be a single moment where I'm looking at Sacha Baron Cohen and I can take him seriously.
Okay. So here's what he's appeared in. I haven't seen any of these movies for what it's worth. He has also appeared in dramatic films including Tim Burton's Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Martin Scorsese's Hugo, Tom Hooper's Les
That was a
Miserables.
dramatic film, but he didn't play a serious character. He played a dick. What is that? The guy who works in a train station.
Okay.
He was a dick.
Tom Hooper's Les Miserables.
What is it?
Tom Hooper's Les Miserables.
Oh, Les Mis.
2012.
Okay, Les Mis was serious.
And
Sure.
Aaron Sorkin's The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Didn't watch that one. Need to watch that one. Yahya Mateen was in that.
He was. Yep. Also, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in it, who some people are saying should be cast as Mr. Fantastic.
Nightwing or Robin from
From
the Bale Batman series.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Fantastic, maybe.
Just a name some people were throwing around.
Just grab a tall bearded white man. Let's get over with, please.
Just grab homeboy Krasinski and just make it happen.
You gotta troll the fans, bro.
No, you don't.
It's the business model. You gotta troll the fans. Oh, speaking of models, did you hear the Direct's latest interview with Kevin Feige where he talks about his process of finding new projects for the MCU?
No.
He has 2 requirements. One, that it has the Marvel logo on it. That it has the Marvel logo.
Okay.
And the second requirement is that it has something to do with the comics. That something about the story is rooted in the comics.
The wording behind that is
That's the criteria. Well, he actually said there is no criteria, and then he said, those were the two things that he considers.
something to do with the comics. Is very vague.
As long as you're roughly, associated with the comic book story in some capacity, then it's a go.
Tie that with writers who don't read the comics. You've got a very loose product.
There is a mentality on how to create content at Disney, and you are right. Combining that, what Feige said, with what Nate Moore told us a couple weeks ago or months ago about how they hire writers, that you start to get an idea of what their ideology is, right? What they think is success, what they think is good. Mm-hmm. And it does seem to be mostly that I think that they want to redefine what these stories are, who they're told for, who they're told by, what they're meant to represent. I think in an effort to try to modernize the canon, they are trying to redefine a lot of the Marvel universe, which it could go either way. When you're talking about IP that's been around since a lot of these folks' grandparents were here, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a bit of hubris in that to me.
Oh yeah,
to think that you know better, to think that your version is better, and that anybody who's beholden or a fan, or at least acknowledges the significance of what came before, couldn't possibly be a good candidate to work for you. That's hubris to me.
Everything about the popularity behind Marvel is predicated on the fact that these are stories that comic book fans have read and would like to see in real form, in live form. And it's so easy to just reproduce for people that they just it seems like they just think they're the shit and they can do whatever the fuck they want. So fuck the expectations that the comic book readers have. We're about to just make whatever the fuck we want.
But as long as it's loosely connected to a comic that came out at some point, we're good.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like the best formula, or it's not very sustainable. Right, because we know that formula worked for phase 1 through 3, but it absolutely did not work for phase 4.
I don't think I've seen them replicate the hype that they had going into like the first Avengers movies and in that kind of era. Like
not,
they have
not
hype,
as of late.
They have hype, but it's not what that was, and that was wholly centered around we've never seen the Avengers in a movie together. Oh my God, this is about to be huge.
Well, right now, I feel like they're in a spot where they can kind of say, like, what we do works, right? Because they have more that has worked and then didn't work.
Yep.
But they're in a dangerous spot in that as well, because you could take that attitude and dig yourself into a bigger hole. Absolutely. Or you can use, the lack of growth or success within that small period as kind of like a warning flag. Mm-hmm. That something different needs to be happening here.
Yeah.
I think within the first maybe 3 or 4 projects of phase 5, we will know exactly what type of adjustments they've made, or if they've made any adjustments at all. If they've committed to changing the tone and tenor of their current cinematic universe, or if they're perfectly happy with what they have and they'll just go back to the drawing board and give us more.
If you truly believe in what Bob Iger said about quality over quantity, then you would probably be steering in the correct direction of let's kind of course correct and get back to where we were doing. But that is what he said is letting me know that it's not really where they're headed.
Agreed.
That's all the rumors I had.
Give us your thoughts on the MCU rumors this week. Also, if you are already subscribed, give us a vote on what you think this segment should be called. I think we landed on either Scuttlebus or Behind the Cape. Go ahead and tell us in the comments which one works for you. And if you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you can vote as well.
I'm going to vote Scuttlebus because Chillmonger came up with Beyond the Cape. And that'll just give him I named your segment. Anyway, make sure you check out last week's Marvel rumors where we discussed a few things. A lot of Black Panther rumors. Amongst other things, and make sure you subscribe because this is pretty much permanent. We'll be talking about Marvel rumors every week.